It is time to improve the New York Jets. All right, we are doing something that we can only hope Darren Mucci and Aaron Glenn are doing on their own time. We're going to do it on our own time, and we're going to look at this roster. We're going to look high, we're going to look low, we're going to look up, we're going to look down, and tell you what's coming around with this roster. So we're going to assess the position, the players we have, the players we don't, and try to see what we would do if we had the GM hat on, right? Not a Jets hat, not a USA ridiculous winter hat on. If we had our GM cap on, what we would do to fix the defensive line today. Who knows? Next week might be another position, but defensive line today, stay tuned. Boy Green meets Wudi.
Can you guys help us get a Jet chant here? Yeah, going.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. Come on in.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go!
J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets! Let's go! J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets! Let's go! There you go, Woody!
Third Party Thursday.
Chris joining us here on the program with a capital P here on the program.
Jake Asman, come on down. How you doing, good sir?
Wow, what an intro. I mean, the boy Green is known for having the intro, but Woody, that was unreal, man. Thanks for the kind words, son.
We are men of many names.
My favorite Austrian Jets fan right there, baby.
Boy Green
meets Woody. Welcome. Sorry. It is still an episode of Boy Green Meets Woody. All right, it is your boy James Woody. I am Woody. I promise you, I'm not coughing everywhere. I am still rocking everywhere. All right, over there is the boy who became king, Mr. Paul Esden Jr. himself, Boy Green, and we got some shout outs to do. Terrence Hill, been a long time since I've seen you in the comments. What up, T Hill? All right, and then Boy Green, I think you got somebody else that you want to shout out.
That's for damn sure. Our number one Austrian Jets fan, our favorite Austrian Jets fan, with the 50-pack of gifted memberships to kick off the show. He has 147 raffle tickets so far this month. So without further ado, and let's hit him with one of these. And for giggles, why don't we also work it? All right, let's go rapid fire. We got 50 new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club, our YouTube membership group. We got Net Mover, J-Boy, Don Reck, Christian Bainbridge, Zoink Nation, Gangrene Catskills, Darnell Towns, Dan Philcox, TL, AD Pugnut, The Pussy Assassin, JT, Matt P, J-Dubs, Mr. Roberts, 25, 1189 Paris, Jets Fan for Life, Grove Pete, Paul Bruno, Zero Rocks Games, James Cafiro, Stephen James, Philip Hannon, Infrared_Jets, Chris NJ75, Stack, Morning Woody, Vern, Jeffrey R, Astral is off the chain, John D. Lee, Alexander Brown, Grinch Mob Jets for Life, Keith Kirkwood, Racing Jason, Jack Knight, J Long, EJ, Tony S, Charleston Jets Rube, Goody, Ernesto Rivera, Pocono Jet, Dean Paparella, a New York native, Flight Boss CVN 71, RS, Howie from Jets HQ, Ocho Nueve. Booyah! A 50-pack of Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. Again, all the raffle tickets and the spreading of love immediately at the beginning of the show, with a big salute to our number one Austrian Jet fan for supporting our show and loving this product. And we get to do this every Tuesday and Thursday. Boy Green and Woody. It's awesome. I love the fans. It's terrific. We just gained 50 new ones for supporters of the channel. Guys, you have access to our Discord channel. Check out all that, and also members-only videos, exclusive perks, all to those 50 new members. Again, thank your local Austrian Jets fan for the gift.
Absolutely. The reason why you in the credits, you one of us, man. So definitely appreciate you big time. Showing the love and spreading the love 250, get that 50 piece. Yeah, what a beautiful thing, what a beautiful time.
Yeah. So shout out to everybody who's watching. So OG Jets fan 85, Terrence Hill, Indy Jets, Jersey Jet. I mean, so many, too many to thank, but thanks everybody for joining us here on the program.
Absolutely. And today we got a doozy. All right. We actually did this last year, where we went position by position and just said, hey, who we got on the roster? Do we need help at that position? And where's the best place to get that help? I would say last offseason, things were kind of dry. So we were able to go through each position one by one. This offseason, things are changing. Things are moving. Things are moving. You all right? Right? We got a whole new GM. We got a whole new coach. Still don't know what's going on with quarterbacks. So as breaking news occurs, we will zig while they also zig. All right. And if they zag, we're going to zag with them too. But for right now, we had to, assess a roster. And it's a position, Boy Green, I would say this is one of the biggest positions on the whole team, one that might need the most work.
It needs our help desperately, Wudi, as two doctors here getting our gloves on, ready for operation. With the Jets free agents that are leaving, the new pieces that could be coming onto the team, and obviously the philosophy change from the Robert Saleh, Jeff Ulbrich, keep 10, 11 defensive linemen on the roster to what we have now. That's sort of fascinating to me to see where we go from there, because that's always a new part of the regime. What positions do they lean heavier with? Do they keep insert amount of linebackers versus insert amount of defensive linemen, or this many wide receivers to this position, that position? So that's another fascinating part of this. So Wudi, I guess I'll start off here, and I see we have more memberships coming. I'll get to those in just a minute. Let me read all the free agents that are set to hit the market for the New York Jets here, Wudi. That includes Hassan Reddick. Don't let the door hit you with a good Lord split you bastard. Get your ass out of here. Hassan Reddick is hasta luego. He's gone. Javon Kinlaw, who came over from the San Francisco 49ers. Solomon Thomas also coming over from the San Francisco 49ers. Likey Fotu, formerly of the Arizona Cardinals. He's in this group. Sam Aguavin, technically among the pass rushing group for the New York Jets there. Jamin Davis, the Jets took a chance on him. He's a former first-round pick. He's part of that group as well there among the pass rushers extraordinaire. Bruce Hector is among those as well, and other guys on the defensive line. So basically, it may be an easier way to put it in this form or fashion here, Wudi. The main people, the main characters in this story are Quinnen Williams, Will McDonald, and Jermaine Johnson. Those are the three main guys that are under contract and moving forward for the New York Jets. And then I'll throw one, a guy I love a lot, is Leonard Taylor III, who's a nice dart throw that the Jets are sort of cultivating there. I'll give a tip of the cap, so to speak, to him. And then there's a lot of others and guys under contract like Michael Clemens, who the fans are not big fans of, and players of that nature. But really, it's a three-man group, and then I like Leonard Taylor III, so I'm throwing him in there as well. So those are really the characters, and then everything else needs work, Wudi.
Yeah, I would like to wholeheartedly agree with what Terrence just said. None of those free agents, not even one of them, really should be, should come back. If I had to choose one to, at least place a call, what is your, what's your number? What's your price? It would be Solid Thomas.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
I think, he has been solid. He has shown some juice in the run, some juice in the past. He had 2 years ago his career high in sacks, actually. So solid guy that by all accounts, was a good locker room guy. But in that same vein, right? We don't necessarily need. He's not a necessary piece. You put it perfectly. Right, there are three people that I would say are the main pieces of the puzzle, like you just said: Quinnen, Jermaine, Will, and then LT3. I think he is super. I wouldn't say super important, but his contract is one of the more valuable ones because I think he can be a guy, right, a starting defensive tackle, and he's making $1 million at most per
Mhm.
year for his contract. So I think that's somebody who should be valued. I also would shout out Braden McGregor, right? If
Oh,
we're
sure.
saying
Okay.
+1, I would add him to the list as well. He did not have the same season that LT3 had. He didn't have the same snap count. But this is somebody, again, undrafted, got a very, very cheap deal that could end up to be something. Everyone who is currently on the payroll, right? Like you said, Michael Clemens. Obviously, there's a few other guys currently on the payroll. Bro, I don't even know who Fedarian Mathis is. I'm not gonna lie. If he walked in my house right now, I'm calling the cops. I wouldn't know who that was.
That's
But
I'll give a quick shout out. He's an intriguing guy, a former high round draft choice of the Washington team, and shout out to Phil Savage. Phil Savage in his very temporary interim GM stay. He made a couple of moves at the end of the season. So Phil Darian is an again. So throw him in the same batch, I guess, of interesting roundhouse kicks of maybe there'll be something, maybe they won't. So he's a former high draft pick that unfortunately has had injuries sort of plague the early portion of his NFL career.
got you. Well, he is a little bit, sorry, excuse me, more expensive than the others.
Yeah.
Other roundhouse kicks. So yeah, I'm good on him. I really, and that's what we're doing. We're putting on the cap.
Sure.
I am, relieving everyone of their duties besides the 5 that I just said: Quinnen, Jermaine, Will, Leonard, Braden McGregor.
Again,
I mean, if you want Eric Watts, I feel like Eric Watts,
right? Yeah,
are the same. But and that really depends on your brilliant point, which is something that I don't think people are talking about enough. Is how many linemen are we keeping? What scheme are we running? What are we doing? So, that's a big part of it all. So, depending on that, you can keep Watts, but I probably would cut him.
Yeah, and I won't give you much pushback on a lot of those guys. You mentioned that it's about picking the players out that you value the most. And I'll tell you, fans that we value the most. What about OG Jets fan, 1985, baby, with a 5-pack of Boy Green Coffee Club memberships? That's 5 raffle tickets for OG Jets fan 1985. Here are the 5 new members of the Boy Green Coffee Club. Shout out to OG here. That is Joe the Jet G, Mute Vials, Dan the Jets fan 21, Nitty, and Jersey Jets all getting Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. And shout out here. I saw the additional message here from OG. This just came in a second ago. Jets, baby, Boy Green, Wudi here. Love the show. And thanks, pal. We appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Like I said, you got 5 raffle tickets for a big contest happening at the end of the month. I'll throw that up on the screen real quick in the middle of all our defensive line conversation here. This is what you guys are all competing for here in the month of February. Got a signature New York Jets football, full-size NFL football. It ships deflated, but it looks great in the man cave or your office. It's a limited edition collectible, and you see all those autographs. I can see it right now. I'm like reading them off. Quinnen Williams, AVT, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner. There's a lot of goodies on there. A New York Jets Nike Salute to Service long sleeve, plus a custom laser engraving package as Jets logos and Boy Green logos merge together. So one lucky winner will draw that winner on March 1st, but you guys can continue to submit your raffle tickets throughout the rest of the month of February. And so good luck to all those. We also are doing a free giveaway if you just subscribe to the channel. We're giving away a free piece of autographed New York Jets memorabilia that'll randomly go to a subscriber out there in the universe that subscribes to the channel. Once we reach 7,500 subscribers, which again, we're less than 70 away. I think we're like 60 something away. So that's right around the corner as well. So God bless everybody and take care. Appreciate that coming in. So yeah, Woody, you laid it out pretty brilliantly here. That is the Jets defensive line room. And obviously it needs help. And I've said it on other shows, but I'll just repeat it now because I think it's important to note. I think the destruction of the Jets defensive line, which Joe Douglas has blood all over his hands over for the choice he made of like trading away JFM, letting certain guys go like Sheldon Rankins, and then replacing them with guys like Likey Fotu and saying, hey, it's going to be this. For instance, I normally give the benefit of the doubt to the team when they make decisions. So Javon Kinlaw gets signed to the 1 year, $7.5 million deal, and everyone goes, wow, that seems rich. But I say, well, the Jets know defensive line. They've killed it this entire time. If they have identified Javon Kinlaw as this guy, then I'm not going to question it. They must know more than me. Well, obviously they did not. Javon Kinlaw was terrible. But like the fact, even though you look at some of the sack numbers, you're like, ooh, that's sort of intriguing. But I think some of those, sometimes we get stats, and Woody loves saying this all the time because I'm Mr. Google stat guy, is that you like see Google stats, you're like, ooh. But if you look further, beyond the surface, sometimes you run into some of those issues that are deeper rooted. So again, I think the defensive line from last season being terrible destroyed the rest of the team. There's a lot of reasons why the Jets were bad last year, but I think that was a big piece of it. So that puts the onus and pressure, kind of the state on the Jets defensive line. It's god awful. And there's talent. We've mentioned the people we'd like circle our wagons around, but it needs more help desperately to get back to its heyday.
I wholeheartedly agree. I'm not sure if there is a combination of sentences that Boy Green has said that I've agreed with more than those.
I'm not sure if
sentences.
that's saying much, but
It might not be, but for now, we'll take it for what it is. Right? That was beautifully said. The defensive line definitely was a big part of the issues. And honestly, you guys talk about Sauce, right? Sauce had the benefit of having that elite pass rush. 4 guys out there. Now they have the extra DB, and Sauce is an All-Pro 2 years in a row. Now the defensive line falls apart. Sauce doesn't even have a bad season, but now you guys are like, oh damn, Sauce is trade Sauce, right? People are saying that, and that is another thing that was catalyzed by the defensive line not being what we thought it was going to be. As a matter of fact, ESPN literally ranked the Jets number one. It was a number 1 defensive line coming into the season. You remember that?
Oh, yes. I thought you were going to say something after the season. I'm like, what the hell did they watch? Before the season, sure. Yes. Oh, I remember it. The people were talking about it. They were like, I heard analysts say Eagles, 49ers, Jets. Those are the top consensus 3. And well.
They got one of those. Well, really 2. That Niners kind of injured, but yeah. So it was not great. So now, right? Let's talk about, right? We agree wholeheartedly needs some work. What are your thoughts? Are you thinking draft, free agency, or both? How are you attacking this defensive line?
Yes. Draft, free agency, CFL, AFL, UFL, all of it. I think you have to, especially with, again, we're sort of swimming in waters we don't know. How deep is this group going to be? I imagine it doesn't get to 10, 11 deep as it was in years past, but I don't know that either. So I think it will have to be a combination platter action happening here of smart key investments. For instance, here's a guy I love that's a free agent, but I don't think the Jets are. I want him, but I don't think it's realistic because of the money. Osa Adigizua of the Dallas Cowboys. Oh boy, I would sacrifice parts of my body that to get this guy from the Dallas Cowboys to the New York Jets. But I've seen the projections from Spot Track here, Woody, and he's 26. He's supremely talented. He had another awesome year for the Dallas Cowboys, but he's projected to get $85 million on the open market. $21.25 million per year on a 4-year deal, and he's expected to get $42.5 million guaranteed. So he's awesome, and in some realms, especially at 26, I'm sure someone's going to pay that price. But for the Jets, with the investments they have and the other investments they need to make on the rest of the roster, I love Osa Adigizua. I just don't think they can afford paying that price. So unfortunately, they're going to have to pivot in a different direction, in my opinion. And I've got other names that I'm kind of curious to dig in on. But I just want to throw that name out there to start this off. Osa Digizuwa. I love saying it. I've said it a million times
I
on
can
the show.
tell.
And I just love the player, and I've seen so much of him in Dallas, and it's just it's a damn shame that we, maybe you're going to disagree. Maybe you're going to say, of course we can afford that price. But for me, I just feel like there's too many other things you have to do. You have to be smarter with your resources, and he'd be great. There's a lot of players that would be great for like T. Higgins. He'd be awesome, but the Jets don't have that kind of T. Higgins money, in my opinion. So I feel like you have to go with cheaper options.
My guy, maybe our guy, Matt O'Leary had a fantastic breakdown of the Jets cap situation. And through the increase, right? Where the budget has increased league wide, and then the assumed cutting of the former Packers, Rodgers, Lazard, Devontae,
yep.
And then some other guys he mentioned, some lower echelon guys like Michael Clemens. He got us up to $78 million in cap this year.
Wow.
I think there's money, right? That's obviously a lot of money to go around.
Sure.
I just think there are so many holes that we don't, like we literally don't have a tight end, right? There's no, I guess Ruckert is there. Obviously, we feel different ways about Ruckert, but we both agree that you need a tight end, right? You need at least one additional, maybe two, wide receiver, right? You need somebody. Morgan Moses. I don't know what's happening with there's a lot of money. So to say, all right, we're going to give one person 20. That's tough. It's a tough deal. So I would say for me, the most expensive person that I looked at based on the spot track, projections, was BJ Hill.
Ooh, I've got him on my list. I love BJ Hill.
Yes,
what was his spot track projections? Because I have PFF projections in front of me. I'll be curious how different they are.
Oh, that is a good point. I believe it was 11 million.
Okay, so PFF's a little shorter. They expect him to sign a 2-year deal for $10.25 million per season. It looks like it's a projected 2-year deal for $20.5 million with $12 million guaranteed. Which again, we're talking about prices here. Osa Odighizuwa being at $21 million plus. Shit, BJ Hill, his entire contract fits in 1 year of Osa.
Yes, for real. I apologize. I misspoke. That was actually what he was making last year. Was 11.
Oh, okay.
They projected $9 million over the next 2 years. So 2 years.
Even cheaper. Okay.
Yeah, even cheaper than PFF. But I think that that's my big thing, right? Is that we definitely need a big time defensive tackle. We don't need a Band-Aid. All right. I think you can get away with some Band-Aids and the defensive end, on the edge, right? Because Jermaine, he should be a stud, right? We know McDonald's going to do what he does. If Jermaine returns to form, then he's a stud. But the Achilles, right? We don't know how he's going to come back. Quinnen, we have needed somebody next to him his whole career,
Yeah.
So to just finally plug up that hole, right? BJ Hill, 29. He definitely has years, right? We don't know how many years, right? He'll actually be 30 by the time the season starts. But even if it's 2 years, like what they are projected in both places, just give him 2 years to have somebody who has started games and played good football, not a Band-Aid, not somebody who, we hope he can, put in the right. No, someone who has been doing it. And for those of you who look at the Bengals D and say, "Oh my God, the Bengals, are trash," that's right. BJ Hill is far from trash. They actually have a pretty solid defensive line. Trey Hendrickson just led the league in sacks. Like they have pieces. Their problem is more than just individual players. So yeah, I think BJ Hill should be at the top of the list for the Jets in terms of free agents to acquire ASAP. Maybe even a slight overpay. Give him 11, right? Because they desperately need a reliable body next to Quentin Williams.
Yeah, he's a solid all-around player. I really like what he brings to the table in multiple regards. So he was on my list. I'll throw another one at you here, Woody, that Darren Muji will know quite well. What about DJ Jones, the big fat boy from Denver Broncos land? And he's even cheaper. Again, to your projections that you talked about with Spotrac, it's the same, but for PFF, it's cheaper than BJ Hill. It's a 2-year deal for $9 million per. That's $18 million total with $10 million guaranteed. DJ Jones, and this is what PFF's bio was on DJ Jones coming in. Jones is still one of the most disruptive run defenders in the NFL when shooting gaps. His 11.3% run stop ranking is third best among interior defenders this past season. So that to me is wildly intriguing, and it says that he has a role for a 0-1 technique as a run stuffer with occasional pass rush juice. I don't really give a shit about the pass rush juice because I'm going to leave that to Quinnen, but I just want someone that is an absolute space eater. Again, go throughout history of your guys, whoever they are, like Tony Saragusa's, Sione Puaz, Damon Snacks Harrison, like an absolutely mammoth of a man that is impossible to move. That's what I want in the centerpiece of this Jets defense. So BJ Hill certainly, again, checks a bucket list. You just talked about him, so I'm going in a different direction. But I think DJ Jones, formerly at Denver, Darren Muji knows that player. They spent the money to initially lure him in on that 3-year deal. I think he'd be a nice fit on the interior as well. Focusing, before we jump into edge rushers and other things, I think if we're talking specifically interior defensive line, we need a Robin and Quinnen Williams Batman. And boy, I think DJ Jones would check off that list as well.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I mean, and one thing I definitely will say is that, pass rushing for this player does not matter that much. We can leave that to Quinnen. We already know what Quinnen can do in the pass rush. What we need is run stuffing. We need some run stoppers. So I completely agree with your assessment there. As for DJ Jones, yes, I think pretty similar in concept of, you got the vet, right? The Wiley vet. He will also be 30 when the season starts. Believe it or not, Spotrac is crazy. They flipped, right? They actually gave,
interesting. That's funny.
Yeah, so not sure why that is, but yeah, I think either one of those is solid. I'm going to mention a third person.
Ooh.
And unfortunately, this person would kind of be a Band-Aid, but it's somebody that we brought up before. You specifically brought him up, Boy Green. And, if we're going with the whole concept of, Salah bringing in Niners guys.
Oh, okay. Right? I think we're going to agree on this name then.
Yes, Aaron Glenn bringing in his guy, Levi. Let me not disrespect nobody real quick. Onzarike, I'm talking about. He, has not had the, career of the other guys, obviously, right? He's coming off of his rookie contract right now.
Younger guy, right? Yeah.
This is kind of that, Band-Aid concept of, next year with Aaron Glenn, right? Aaron Glenn knows the guy. But that's faith. That's having faith in your coach. If Aaron Glenn believes that he can be that guy, he will undoubtedly be cheaper than the two guys we just mentioned. Mm-hmm. So this is on a budget. But his ceiling, you could argue, is higher. He is the younger, fresher athlete who now will have an easier job next to Quinnen Williams, right? With the only coach he's ever known on the defense in Aaron Glenn. I mean, I don't want Band-Aids, but if we go with the Band-Aid, that is the only one. That is the only Band-Aid for me is Levi Onwuzurike.
And by the way, he's to your point, cheaper. His projection from PFF, $8.25 million on a 2-year deal, $16.5 million total, $10 million guaranteed. Again, you like the scheme fit there. He's certainly flashed. There's been a few injury issues, so obviously you have to kind of consider that in the bucket when you're considering bringing him in. But again, AG guy, some more help next to Quinnen, that would make sense. And I don't know how we were going to do this, Woody, but I'll just stay with defensive tackle. Just mention a couple of draft guys, then we could go to edge rusher. everyone, I think we know some of the names at the top. Like Mason Graham would be really fun. 6'3", 320 pounds out of Michigan. If somehow he's on the board for the Jets at 7, I've heard our guy Leger Deuce. He brought up Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. He said he had top 10 pick buzz at the Senior Bowl. I haven't seen that same buzz in mock drafts, but they're just mock drafts, so who knows? Kenneth Grant's been brought up, 6'3", 342 pounds. Tyleik Williams, Ricky New York. That's I know he's a big fan of the show. He's a big favorite of Tyleik Williams, the defensive tackle out of Ohio State, 6'3", 327. A name I want to throw out there that I haven't heard a lot, Woody, that really checks off the bucket list for me is just this massive size. Alfred Collins, defensive tackle out of Texas. He's 6'5", 320 pounds. And again, some of his draft profile buzz pieces talk about him dominating the run game with rare power and processing speed that translates immediately to the NFL. Film don't lie, it says in his profile, and I love it. So I love the size. I love, again, the commitment to run. That's what I'm looking for when I'm looking for next to Quinnen, is I'm looking for pairs. I'm looking for someone that matches, that you're supposed, again, that's the Batman Robin thing I keep bringing up here, is that you want someone that complements. Sure, you could just put two really talented defensive tackles together, and maybe that combination just works, but I'm trying to get strengths of one guy that may not be strengths of another guy, and then it just sort of pairs better together, like a great recipe, put the right ingredients together to get us a better dish at the end of the day. And put my Gordon Ramsay hat on. Alfred Collins, he sort of rings the bell for me.
Yeah, for sure. No, I definitely think that we need to draft a defensive tackle. Huge.
It's deep. The class is deep.
The class is deep. Now, like you said, right? We know, Mason Graham, right? We heard the names at the top, and I'm not. Hey, if they draft Mason Graham, I would not be mad. Right now, you've kind of secured a top flight line. Under contract for the next however many years, right? Because you still have, you still have Will, you have Quinnen, and now you would have Mason. But these guys, these scouts, right? Muji's a scout, Aaron Glenn's former scout. What type of meals can they cook up in these later rounds? Like you just said, the depth of this class, and specifically defensive tackle, is deep. And I like some of the names that you were bringing up. I like Alfred Collins. I was looking at Jordan Phillips, right?
Oh, okay. I know.
We're talking about guys that can be found in that second round, third round, even though the Jets don't have that pick. The Raiders out here, Devontae Adams. But who knows? Maybe we trade Devontae Adams to the Ravens for a third round pick or something. Or,
hey, there you go.
Trading up, or there's so many different things that can happen. So, trusting those guys, for all the things that, Joe Douglas, a lot of you guys probably actually like Joe Douglas, but I was critical of Joe Douglas. One thing I always give him credit for, the former scout, was in those later rounds, he actually cooked a lot of nice dishes. Michael Carter II, Jamie and Sherwood.
Sure.
He
Brandon Eccles. Yeah.
Brandon Eccles. He routinely found gems, fourth round and on. So it will be super important, especially this year to start off with a bang, because Joe Douglas definitely didn't start off with a bang his first draft class.
Although the Eagles would disagree, they really like their starting right guard, Super Bowl winning.
I'm trying to think of anyone. I can only think of Makai and Denzel Mims. I can't even think of like the third round.
Ashton Davis. Ashton Davis was the third rounder.
Yeah, he's still on the squad.
Hey now. There you go. But, a lot of bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So for Muji and Glenn, this time around, we need guys, like key guys, drafting those later rounds, and I think this is the draft to do it for the defensive tackle. If they can secure one of those real names. BJ or DJ or Levi, and supplement it with a draft, either trading into the third or even, fourth, if we have to, get jiggy with it, get that defensive tackle. Because you still have LT3, who I do have faith in. I do think deserves snaps this season. But you know what they say, iron sharpens iron. So adding in that fourth will not hurt LT3 in my opinion.
And then we move over to edge rusher. Again, most teams that are good have 3 pass rusher rotations of guys. And in the Jets' case, they have Will McDonald's coming off a career year. He looks awesome. Jermaine was looking really good before he got hurt, unfortunately, and he blew out his Achilles in week 2. And you just don't know what you're going to get there. I'm loving everything he's saying, but, action to field is different. And, coming off an Achilles as a quarterback versus coming off an Achilles as a pass rusher is different. As a pass rusher, you're using that Achilles on every bleeping play for your explosiveness. So I'll be curious how much the Jets invest to find pass rusher number 3 or quasi number 2, depending on how you feel about Jermaine. Mike Green stands out, obviously, the kid out of Marshall, that a lot of people said maybe the Jets could just go F it and take him 7th overall. A pass rusher I love, and Wudi, we talked about this during the season in the ahead of the trade deadline episode. Azeez Ojulari of the New York Giants. He's a guy that I would have loved to take a roundhouse kick on and just bring him in as a guy for a mid-round draft choice. The Giants held on to him, and now he's going to leave in free agency. Here's his PFF projected number: a 1-year deal for $5 million, basically the full $5 million, fully guaranteed. He is a designated pass rusher that's put up numbers since he's come into the league. He is a guy that some injuries too, so that has to be factored in. Really, all these free agents have warts in some form or fashion. No one's going to come out perfect. But to me, I'd love to take a kick on Azeez Ojulari. He doesn't have to move. I'm helping him. They stay at the same house. You just got to drive to a different part of the New Jersey area. Let's bring in Azeez Ojulari as that third pass rusher. It's coming up on dirt cheap money. He gets a chance in this scheme to showcase his skills, and either he stays with the Jets long-term on a deal. Again, he's only 24 years of age right now, so he'll be entering free agency at his age 25 season. So either he gets the bag from the Jets or somebody else. I think it's a win-win for the Jets. I'd bring in Azeez. He's one of my favorites available in free agency for good value, not just a really talented pass rusher, but talented pass rusher at good price value for the Jets.
Yeah, definitely. When you mentioned Azeez during the trade deadline, I was like, oh, I never really thought about that. And of course, nothing has happened in between now and then for me to get off the Azeez train. So I will definitely hit you with the choo-choo on that. With Jermaine, I do think that it would be a mistake to assume that, our guy Jermaine Johnson will be our guy Jermaine Johnson on the field this year. We've just seen it. We've seen it too many times. Aaron, right, wasn't the same. I think he will be better this year, but we didn't give him that extra year. Carl Lawson, who actually played the same position, right? Was looking like a beast, got the Achilles tear, he was doing all the right things. He was back, early, and he never really looked the same. He had a solid that year that he came back. He was solid.
Mm-hmm.
But then of course now, completely fell off. He's a rotational guy in the Cowboys. So
yeah, pretty good numbers with the Cowboys. So salute to Carl Lawson. He had like 4 or 5 sacks or something. So salute to Carl.
Yeah. So with Jermaine, I just, I wouldn't say like I would really want somebody, like a high end like free agent. I would probably bring in a vet. With the draft, I actually don't know if I would draft another one. You have Will, you have Jermaine. What I would honestly, and this might sound controversial, what I would try to do is extend Jermaine right now. I would try to extend Jermaine because opting in to that 5th year might be a little costly. Like we don't know what he's gonna look like. We have no idea.
Sure.
Right. So I would actually try to say, hey, Jermaine, let's take like let's extend, right? Get like, tack on 2 years, right? For like maybe 20 mil. That would end up aging real well if he comes back.
So like the Jordan Love thing. So
yes.
And I don't know if you'll remember this or the fans will. The Packers actually declined the 5th year option for Jordan Love. They're like, huh? and then they immediately reworked it so it was a deal on their terms instead of relaying to the gods of the 5th-year projected number that Jordan Love was supposed to get. They said, hey, let's rip that up and we'll come up with our own new deal, which of course is allowed. So doing interesting. I've not heard a lot of people mention that for Jermaine. Fascinating.
Yes, that is exactly what I am suggesting. I think the Jets, it's kind of insurance for Jermaine because obviously if he stinks, right, then it's like I've just lost out on this payday, or like I have the 1 year, right, because they opted in, so I have the 1 year and
it's fully
now
guaranteed.
I gotta try to do it
Correct.
again. But no, now you're under contract for a foreseeable future. And on the Jets side, if he does come back to be Jermaine, now you got one of the better deals in football. So I think what that would do is kind of ease a lot of minds. It would also clear up some cap for next year, right? Because it would be less than that 50.
Right, it wouldn't be the fully guaranteed number, so it'd be a lesser number, right? Okay.
Exactly. And then knowing that, I would bring in, one of these mercenary dudes, and one that caught my eye was Dante Fowler Jr.
Oh my God, he's been hanging around forever.
Oh, but last year my boy had 11 sacks.
Oh yeah, no, he was good. Yeah,
2 forced fumbles. He was, and he started 0 games. So this is somebody who already knows. He's used to, right? He's been a starter in the past. He has accepted his role as a role player. So whatever happens, whether he beats out Jermaine or is, the first one off the bench, he will be okay with it, and he will be highly productive. I think that would be a home run. He would cost less than BJ Hill. Like I said before, right? My big money was trying to secure that interior, right? So now on the exterior, on the edge, I'm trying to get the most bang for the smallest buck. And right now, Dante Fowler, he is a great option for that. I like Aziz as well. The other name I'll say, who I will 1,000% say has the lowest floor, is Marcus Davenport, who, again, right, somebody who is coming from the Lions, right? Aaron Glenn knows him. I even believe, if I'm not mistaken, before that, he was a Saint. So, like,
correct, with AG, right?
Yeah, so they really, been just making the stops together. His last 2 seasons, unfortunately, ended in injury. So that's like a very solid reason to, overlook him. But if he were to channel, move the clock back, he's not even that old. It's just that he's been injured. He's been productive even, in the games before injury. So if, I would probably add them both, Dante and Davenport. And then you still got our boy McGregor waiting in the wings. And that's my 5 for the edge position.
Yeah, Dante Fowler, by the way, played 52% of the snaps last year and got 10.5 sacks. So it's pretty good. If you're talking about efficiency, that bucket is certainly checked there as well. Just a quick comment coming in here from OG asking about call-ins. OG Jets fan 85. If you'd like to call in every morning on Boy Green Daily, we open up the phone lines in the second half of the show. So feel free to get on the show and call in. That's about 8 o'clock every single day. The phone lines are open. So feel free. And apparently you and Wudi and OG Jets fan have to have a conversation. Well, I don't know when's the next time Woody's calling into the morning show, but when that happens, feel free. I've got no problem here with y'all having a chat. So God bless, feel free. But phone lines are open every day on Boy Green Daily at 8 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely, this day used to be called Third Party Thursday. OG Jets fan. I mean, if
Collins, okay.
Yeah, we can definitely arrange that. No problem. The phone still works just like in the day as it does in the afternoon. So
That's
we can
definitely
make something happen for sure.
But I love both of our plans, Woody. We both had edge rushers and defensive tackles. Again, this just feels like a great place to start because normally we would have started at quarterback or this position or this position. There's still just so much unknown about quarterback right now that I think the more time we can wait on that, the better. Defensive line is such a pressing issue that not enough people have just taken time to carve out and talk about and discuss potential solutions and things of that nature. So, yeah, man, great episode, great show, and we'll be cherry picking, doing some really important positions ahead of the new league year, which, by the way, kicks off on March 12th, and we have legal tampering period before that. And then, as Woody said, the body's willing to zig or zag based on the breaking news that graces our presence. So, a lot coming up here, Woody.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I just want to answer, my boy Terrence, welcome back, brought up two things. One, I completely agree. Defensive tackle is more important than DN right now, for sure. And this question, literally, when you were just speaking, I spent the whole time thinking about my answer to this question. If Jermaine was my kid, would I want the Jets to do that to him? I do have a son, right? So, like, I'm thinking, like, if he was in that scenario, and I think ultimately my answer probably would be yes, because again, you're extending the length of the contract. Like, there's insurance behind having the length of time, right? I'm not saying, 3 years, $3 million, like, a reasonable deal, but just not the upper echelon that that 5th-year option would be. So I think coming off an injury like that, not sure what the future will hold, knowing that you're still playing with the MetLife turf monster, I think it is a smart move because nothing is guaranteed.
I would just add on just to say that it's interesting the gambles people take. For instance, we did a show on this earlier this week on Boy Green Daily. Garrett Wilson, does he bang the table for the bag right now from the New York Jets and say, hey, man, I don't give a flying hoot. What the hell's going on? Give me my money right now. Or does he say, I'm going to bet on myself. Let's play out 2025. If I have the year I think I can, whatever number they thought they're going to give me, add 10 million to it. That's how. So Jermaine, it'll be curious. My anticipation is the Jets are accepting all these 5th-year options. Sauce, Garrett, Jermaine. Let's see if the Jets actually do it. Again, they have to make that decision in early May. Do they accept the 5th-year option on Jermaine and have his control for the next 2 years? Or do they decline it and say, we don't know what kind of Jermaine we're going to get, and let's play it out? If Jermaine stinks in 2025, then the Jets made the right choice. If he's great, then the Jets are like, oh, shit. We're going to have to franchise tag. Now all the power goes to Jermaine. It's also on Jermaine betting himself if they pull out the Wudi move that he's talking about. F the 5th-year option. We'll give you our own deal. You get more financial security. But if you work out great, we're going to get a great deal for a little bit of time. Does Jermaine go, no, I believe in myself? And it sounds like he does based on every conversation I've ever heard of Jermaine. Seems like he has his confidence in himself, which is a great thing to have when you're in the National Football League. I'll be curious to see that confidence because, again, Terrence, answering you didn't ask me about this, but answering the question, I want my son to have financial security. So if the Jets offered that, even if it wasn't top of the market, I'd be like, that'd be pretty gosh darn compelling to make sure that he gets, he already has life-altering money from his first-round contract, but that first big payday is the one that really sets players up for the rest of their lives. I'll be kind of curious because the money we're talking about probably wouldn't do it to that level, but it'll be interesting to see. Again, this takes 2 to tango. Just because the Jets offer him a deal doesn't mean Jermaine has to take it. It's up to him and his agent and representation whether or not that's actually absolutely going to go through what ends up happening.
Yes, 100%. So, as dad's talking to dads right now.
Right? Yeah.
That's how we would do it. Zoink Nation, I'm gonna need an apology for your disrespectful remarks about Breece Hall right now. I definitely appreciate you guys, each and every one of you, tuning into the show. We broke down defensive lines, like Boy Green said. If they need us to zig, we will zig. But if not, we will continue to assess our roster as we try to finally end the drought, or at least that's what I'm hoping for, right? Because some fans are like, hey, we rebuilding. Let's just, I don't even know what they say. They're like, let's just have fun watching the team lose again, right? They're talking about, at least Jameis would be fun. I don't know what y'all talking about. Like, I'm trying to win games. So we got to assess the roster and see what needs to be fixed so that we can finally establish a winning culture in this franchise.
It would be nice to have a Boy Green meets Woody playoff week of a playoff game for the New York Jets. I would love to see it. I'd love to see it. And by the way, shout out once again, number one Austria Jet fan with the 50 pack before the show even started. I almost spit out my drink when I just went, oh, someone gifted a membership? 50. I did almost like, Chris Tucker in Rush Hour, $50 million, but 50 million memberships. So I did almost have that when I was watching that today. And again, salute OG Jets fan 1985. Again, both of you, Austria, you got 50 more raffle tickets. OG, you got 5. And hey, all you need is a raffle ticket to the dance. People have won our raffles with one raffle ticket. People have run with a cajillion memberships. So both strategies certainly work, but I want to give a shout out again to everybody for throwing it in there. Woody, looking forward to us continuing our conversations as always next Tuesday, my friend.
Absolutely. Hope everyone has a great weekend. We will be talking. Let's go, Jets.
All right. We'll see. Me and Woody will see you together on Tuesday at 3:00. I'll see you tomorrow morning for another episode of Boy Green Gosh Darn Daily, baby. Thanks to the 400 people that are watching live. We appreciate the people that watch after the fact as well. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Take friggin' care.